Fires are popping up across Canada at record levels this year. Tens of thousands have been forced from their homes, and fire risks are expected to stay high throughout September. For more this morning, we're joined by Ken McMullen, president of the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs. He's also the fire chief in Red Deer, Alberta. Ken McMullen, good morning.
Well, good morning.
The federal government says fire risks will stay high into September, through September. What does that actually mean for Canadians?
I think what it means is we just have to be aware. We have to remain vigilant and understand that although not all of our provinces and territories are seeing the same degree of active wildfires, there are significant wildfires still remaining all across this country, over 700 wildfires in our country as we speak. So we're a long ways from this being over.
I wonder, from a national perspective, it almost feels like this is just going to be every year now because, in a lot of ways, maybe not here in Vancouver Island, but the BC interior has had a much quieter summer than in recent years anyway. And yet we're having unexpected fires perhaps on Vancouver Island or Newfoundland or Manitoba. What do you think? Is it going to be, it's in some corner of the country, just a regular thing every summer now on?
It's a really unfortunate, sad reality, but I think the answer is yes. We are seeing wildfire season starting earlier, and it is lasting longer, and those are concerns. Those are certainly areas that we need to be watching. Today, as we sit this early morning, there is a fire in every province or territory, with the exception of Prince Edward Island. That tells us something. We don't typically see this many fires all spread out throughout Canada, and so it is a change for sure.
And with that change, what are the biggest challenges facing firefighters as they try to battle the wildfires?
Yeah, I think in practical terms, fatigue plays a fact in this. We are putting a lot of pressure on men and women all across this country. There's two different types of firefighters, and I'll remind you and your listeners, we have our wildland firefighters, the men and women that have the training, expertise, and knowledge to fight fires in the trees. Working alongside those are our municipal firefighters, the men and women that are trained, have the expertise and equipment to fight fires and structure fires. And the two types of fires are very different. The risks associated to a tree fire is different than the risks associated to a structure fire. And so we have to work together, and we need to do that in the most collaborative, responsible way possible. And so there's coordination required, which leads me, of course, to my never-ending plea, which is the creation of a national fire administration for our municipal firefighters in Canada. The ability to assist with coordination and deployment of resources all across the country is still lacking today, I'm sad to admit.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that up again. You've spoken to us about that before. Any movement from government? Have you had any indication, positive signs that they may be moving in that direction?
It's a really unfortunate thing. I'm calling it the liability of newness. And what I mean by that is every time that there's a change in government, it's almost like taking two steps back. We have to re-engage in relationships. These elected officials don't necessarily know who we are. We've got brand new MPs, individuals that had never been in Ottawa before, and they're listening to a passionate person like myself come and tell them about how simple it would be to create a national fire administration, and we can do this for less than $2.5 million, and they still want to stop and say, well, hey, but who are you, and who is the Canadian Fire Chiefs, and really what value do you bring to the conversation? It takes a long time to gain those relationships in government, and every time that there's a change in government, whether that's a minister or staff within those policy areas, it takes us time to regain those relationships.
Okay, so that is key for you. And in the meantime, are there enough recruitment efforts and funding and so on at the provincial levels when it comes to wildfire forces? And I appreciate your distinction about those, Ken, the structural municipal firefighters and volunteer and so on versus for instance, the BC Wildfire Service. Are those becoming big enough and well funded enough across the country in general, from your view?
I think that the reality is we're never going to have enough. And I know that sounds, somewhat pessimistic, but the fact of the matter is there's never going to be enough firefighters to put out the amount of fires that we're seeing in Canada today, which we saw in 24 and 2023. So we must utilize what we do have. 124,000 municipal firefighters made up of career, composite, and volunteers, over 3,000 wildland firefighters in this country, and we still don't have enough. We do need to better fund them. We do need to better train them. And most importantly, we need to coordinate and utilize all of those people to the best of our ability within the mechanisms that we have.
Notwithstanding the frustration you mentioned about having new government and new people come in and not know what to make of you, or whether you're the right player. I mean, your association. Are you optimistic? Are you going to stick with it and keep going here, thinking that maybe that association will be created by the federal government?
I'll be on your show or any other show that continues to ask me to come and speak. We're not giving this up. I'm not leaving this without the creation of a National Fire Administration. We will continue to add this. I think that it's a great segue. MP Gord Johns out of British Columbia rose in the House of Commons just before the summer break and made a motion to create a National Fire Administration. It's some of these very seasoned MPs in Ottawa that are ones that best understand the request, because they've heard us. They've heard us passionately with the data explain the value of a National Fire Administration. As a result of Gord John's motion, there will be a petition started within just mere days from now. So on our website, the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs, there'll be access to a website. And if you and your listeners can support the creation of a National Fire Administration, that's going to be one more place that you can help.
Well, Ken McMullen, we'll stay in touch. Thanks for joining us again. I appreciate you taking the time.
I look forward to our next conversation. You and your listeners, please stay safe.
Ken McMullen is president of the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs and the fire chief in Red Deer, Alberta.